2020 has given us a lot to contend with. It can be difficult to cope with everything we've been through this year. Fortunately, I found a good, productive way to spend my time. Today, I'm going to be cooking swordfish steak in the Sous Vide. It's hard to overstate how delicious this is, so stay tuned, and I'll show you how to make a dish that will help you maintain your zen during these crazy times. But let's keep it down. We wouldn't want to wake me up.
Now, the thing I love about Sous Vide is how simple it is. So we're going to put it in the Sous Vide here in just a second, and that's really going to do all of the work for us. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and season this swordfish steak up really nicely. Now, this one happens to be frozen, by the way. When I got it, I went ahead and vacuum sealed it and put it in the freezer. I wasn't sure when I was going to use it. Obviously, it's better if you don't freeze it and you start from fresh, but this is going to be just fine, especially in the Sous Vide. Now, before I put it in the vacuum sealed bag and then put it in the Sous Vide bath, I want to go ahead and season it. Now, I typically will use something like olive oil to ensure that the seasoning adheres good to the meat, but particularly when it's frozen, that's important to do. So I'm going to go ahead and put some olive oil on this, and then we're going to be using just some lemon pepper, and we're going to be using some grind up some sea salt and put on there, and that's it. Then we're going to put it back in the bag and seal it up and then put it into the sous vide. So let's get started with the olive oil. Okay, and I just need a little bit. Again, it just helps for the seasoning to stick. Again, particularly since this particular steak is frozen, and so it would not otherwise really want to adhere or allow any seasoning to stick to it. So the olive oil just helps with that. Now, had I known exactly how I was going to cook this, I would have perhaps seasoned it up even before I put it in the freezer to freeze. That's what I do a lot of the times with my steaks. Now let's get some salt. So this is now ready. I'm going to go ahead and get it vacuum sealed up, and then we'll get it in the bath. All right, so I've got the fish resealed now, and I've got my Anova app set up here. So I'm ready to send the temperature and the cook time to my Anova cooker. So before I do that, I'm just going to go ahead and drop the fish into the bath. I've already filled that up with water. I'm just going to drop it in right there and close that up. And then I can just say that I am ready to start the Anova. There you go. And we're going to leave this, again, I set this to cook for 1 hour. So right now you can see the temperature is reading at 121 degrees, but it's going to get up to 130, which is what I've set it to. Once it hits 130, that's when the timer will start, and it's going to cook for 1 hour. Now, it's okay if it cooks a little bit longer. That's a great thing about the sous vide. If it's in there for 2 hours, it's okay. It's not going to overcook. It's going to hold it exactly the right temperature. And then once that's finished, we're going to take it off for the finishing steps. All right, guys, so the fish is just about ready. So I'm going to go ahead and make my sauce that I'm going to be pouring over my swordfish steak. And I wanted to share this with you guys. So I use Adam's Reserve white wine and garlic butter seasoning to make my sauce. I'm going to show you exactly how I do that. But if you've never tried this, this is delicious. I'm really sad because I only have a little bit of this left, but it is enough for this particular cook. So I'm going to go ahead and I've got my heavy cream. It's real easy to make. All you need is this seasoning and heavy cream, and let's see how we do it. So I've got some fire going under there, and I'm going to pour in some cream. I don't always measure, so it's about that much, I guess. It's just going to be for one steak, so that's plenty right there. And I'm going to go ahead now, while that's heating, and pour in my seasoning, and you can see how much I'm putting in there. Something like that. This is delicious stuff. I'm telling you, if you try it, you're going to fall in love. So we're going to give that just a little stir and let this heat up. And we have to be patient. It's still not really warm enough. But what we're going for is we're going to let this heat up to a light boil. And we're just going to turn it down just a little bit and let it simmer for just a few minutes, and that's really all we need, just to get this nice and dissolved, and then we'll be pouring this over the fish. And this works great, by the way, for any sort of white fish, if you're baking, grilling. I've never used it over, say, fried fish or anything like that, but if you're other than fried fish, I think this will work great. We use it all the time. My family loves it. They get mad at me, in fact, when I don't make this and we just serve fish plain. So I'm going to turn my fire down. I want to be careful with this. You want it to heat not too fast. So you want to give it some time to heat up, a gentle boil or simmer, I guess, and try to dissolve as much as possible the seasoning in there. You can see it there. That's what we're going for. That's sort of a gentle simmer. Yeah, so this is nice. Just like this. It's going to thicken up real nice. And that's really about it. This sauce is basically ready to go. Our fish is ready to go as well. So what we're going to do, I'm going to cover this up and just let it sit here and stay nice and hot. And we're going to go finish up our swordfish steak. All right, guys, so with the fish now ready, we be careful with it. It is not tender. We don't want it to come apart. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pat this dry, and you want to be really careful with it. Like I said, it is fish, so it's not like a steak. It's a swordfish steak, but it's not like a beef steak, so it will come apart on you. So you want to be super careful with it. But as you can see, you do have a little bit to pick it up, to pat it dry, that sort of thing. So just real careful. We're going to get it nice and dry, and then we're going to take it now out to the grill. All right, guys, we're ready to finish up our swordfish steak, and I'm going to be using the sear station of my grill that gets super hot. And so what I'm going to do is carefully place my swordfish steak right there. And why are we doing this? Really, this is, in the case of the swordfish steak in particular, this is probably more aesthetics than anything else. Now, when we talk about a beef steak, certainly there is an aspect of the char that you want on the steak that does add some flavor, particularly if you're doing a butter base or something of that nature. But in the case of the fish, I'm not sure, we're not really going for a char covering. It's really we're gonna have a char effect from the grill, but again, that's really just about aesthetics. So again, we're not gonna leave it on for very long, and we're being very delicate with the steak. I'm gonna turn it a little bit. This really nice piece of fish is cooked all the way through. That's one thing about the sous vide. I actually had it cooking on the sous vide for about 2 hours, something like that, 2.5 hours. I think that the actual requirement was really about an hour or so, but that's a great thing about the sous vide. You can leave it and it's going to cook. It's not going to overcook, and you don't have to worry about it. So if you get busy doing something and you thought you were going to eat it at 5, but really it's going to be 6 or 6:30, no problem at all. All right, so that's been about 1.5 minutes on this side. Let me flip it over on the other side, again, very carefully. And we got a nice grill effect there, perhaps even a little bit more than I was shooting for. So I might take the cue there, and we'll shift it a little bit sooner. You have to be careful. I can already, it's starting to stick a little bit. And we don't want to tear up our steak. Yeah, we're starting to come apart. I'm going to do one more turn, and I'm pushing my luck with that. All right, we're gonna take this bad boy inside. We're gonna let it rest for about a minute or so, and then we're gonna cut into it and what I've been waiting for. All right, guys, this looks fantastic. I can't wait to tear into it. I've got my sauce ready to go. So we're gonna pour the sauce here over this fish. Let's give it a try. Oh, so tender, but such a good piece of meat there. Oh, I'm so excited. I love swordfish. Really excited about this. This looks delicious. Smells fantastic. Wow. Wow. That is amazing, actually. Just really, wow. The cream sauce adds such a nice, soft, creamy, of course it's cream sauce, so, oh, it's just delicious. Guys, if you've never tried swordfish, you have to try it. This is delicious. Oh my goodness. So good. The cream sauce, so good. The garlic butter flavor in the cream sauce, so good. What a fantastic piece of fish. This is a fantastic meal. I'm ready to sit down and enjoy this. Guys, listen, if you're interested, if you haven't tried this, you think you might want to, I highly recommend it. Sous vide, absolutely fantastic. What an easy way to prepare just absolutely delicious, consistent every time meals. Again, keep in mind this particular one, the finishing steps that we took on the grill, totally optional. You don't have to do that at all. I do like it. The aesthetics are important to me. And it may provide a slight bit of crust effect there at the end where the grill marks are at. So, but I'm being a little picky maybe. So totally optional and totally up to you. Alright guys, that's another cook in the books. And listen, if you're not a subscriber to my channel, consider becoming one. Hit that subscribe button. Love to see you back here again. If you have some comments about this video or you make this yourself and you want to let me know about your own flair and maybe help me out and raise my game, add some comments there. I'd love to read them. I answer all of them. Until next time, stay safe and cook something good. Thanks.